Good afternoon. My name is Dr. Robbie Fletcher, and I'm Commissioner of Education. I get the honor of reading from the series Cow Tales in the book called Barnstorming, written by Marissa Betts. Seasons were changing, and summer would be there soon. The days were warm, but pleasant, for it being nearly June. The cowboys had settled in and made the farm their home, bouncing through the barnyard and wherever they may roam. Their barns was their palace, with stalls full of hay, 2 bottles of milk, and a scoop of grain a day. In the mornings they polished off their breakfast, and out the door they went, racing through the barnyard, out to the pasture where their afternoons were spent. The days grew longer, and the air quickly warmed, often bringing with it thunderheads and storms. As the temperatures rose in the afternoon one day, it was hot and sticky, but not unusual for late May. The farmers noticed the white pillowy clouds blooming in the western sky, so they rushed to finish their work while everything was still dry. The clouds turned gray and ominous as they neared. Thunder then rumbled, and lightning appeared. The farmers knew that they needed to act quick. The storm approached fast, and the rain looked heavy and thick. To the pasture they ran, pushing the cowboys back to their stalls. In the barn they went, with only a single whistle and call. They swung the gate closed, but it bounced off the latch. With all the commotion, they didn't see it not catch. Hay was flying as the farmers filled every bunk with feed. Chores were completed in the quickest of speeds. The barn door was shut and all was done. Now it was time to prepare for the run. Out the door the farmers ran as the rain poured down, slipping and sliding across the wet ground. The cowboys were calm as the wind whipped and howled, thankful to be inside and safe as the thunder growled. Ringo's keen eye soon noticed the gap in the stall door. It was much larger and wider than ever before. The curious little devil popped his head through the gap, cautious and careful, ensuring that it wasn't a trap. He looked to the left and then to the right. The coast was clear and not a soul in sight. Ringo heaved and pushed the stall open with all his might. And just like that, the cowboys had free range of the barn for the rest of the night. Dawn was on the horizon when the farmers went out to chore, dodging the ponds for puddles left from the night before. When they reached the barn, the door seemed blocked. The knob turned freely, so it couldn't be locked. When suddenly through the glass, 3 noses appeared. Curly, Gus, and Festus fogged up the pane, then gave it a smear. Peering through the window, destruction was all they could see. But the door was still blocked. What could it be? They budged open the door and heard a moo of terrible dislike, as they peeped around the door to see a grumpy and groggy like. They surveyed the damage that the daylight revealed. Everything was disturbed. The barn was a battlefield. Water buckets were tipped and hay bales were tattered. Grain pans were flipped and feed sacks were scattered. Still one calf was missing, the leader of the pack, but he was quickly located with his head still in a feed sack. Ringo looked up with satisfaction from self-feeding, belched and mooed, and then went back to eating. The barn was in shambles, no surface left clean. With nose and hoof prints, it was quite the scene. The farmers were so stunned by the barn's unruly state that they rolled open the door and shooed the cowboys out the gate. One by one, they slowly waddled out into the pasture. Their tummies were so full that they couldn't move any faster. They sought refuge beneath the shade tree to lay, lounging and sleeping for the rest of the day. The cowboys were cunning and sneaky in their ways, frequently going on adventures or getting out to play. One thing for sure, they were always having fun. 5 ornery cowboys that had regrets of none. Lieutenant Governor Jacqueline Coleman was right. Ringo and his friends had an adventure in this book. What about you? Were you able to predict what Ringo and his friends would do? When Commissioner Shell read to us about Ringo, did you guess the fun he would have with his friends on the farm or in the barn? Sometimes we all get a little rowdy when we're having fun. Imagine you're the author and Ringo lives on your farm. What would you do to make sure Ringo and his friends have everything they need to be happy? What do you think makes calves happy? I know I'm happy when I get to spend time with my family and friends. Thanks for reading with me today, and happy All In for Ag Education Week.